there's misunderstanding about what dyslexia is. If people understand these are bright kids, average to above average IQs that have this isolated deficit that leads to their struggle in reading, they have this incredible path before them because they have so many strengths. But if they're not identified, they're struggling in school, they don't know why they're struggling, and they're more likely to drop out of school and obviously more likely not to go to college. They're not going to reach their potential.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is it was that negatives were associated with dyslexia rather than the positive that it was. What happened then is that there was a change in the definition so that it was considered to be, for example, by 2018, in Public Law 115-391, an unexpected difficulty. And why was it unexpected? It was unexpected in reading for an individual who had the intelligence to be a much better reader. And then the knowledge grew so that it was understood it was most commonly caused by a difficulty in the phonologic processing, that is, the appreciation of the individual sounds of spoken language, which affects the ability of an individual to speak, read, and spell. And in fact, the definition was changed in 2018. And then it was changed further to say that if you're saying it's an unexpected difficulty, how do you show that? And the way you show it is to show that that individual has a level of intelligence that is much higher related to his reading.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think that's important. So you're saying that they're not reading at the level of their IQ, which you would expect in a non-dyslexic.
Right. And that's a great definition, but it upset many people because it meant that for many children, their intelligence would have to be measured.
So unexpected is a beautiful definition because you could be unexpected, not only because if your intelligence is much higher than your level of reading, but unexpected if you're not reading for the age group for the class that you're in. And of course you have to have some operational guidelines, and most people have agreed that if you're reading below a standard score of 90 in first or second or third grade, that would be unexpected because you're reading at a higher level, but your intelligence is even higher, or you're reading below the level of everybody else in the classroom. That would be unexpected. And so I think it's a beautiful definition, and people just don't recognize that it's in federal law. And many states, Laura, you can speak to this, have adopted this definition. Many states have not, but I think it's because people may not be aware that it is in federal law.
Well, I think unfortunately, and I think y'all should talk to this, a lot of people are looking to the definition that you two worked on 20 years ago. They're looking at the old definition and not the new definition that is in federal law and is in state law in Louisiana.
That old definition talked about dyslexia being a neurobiologic problem, but it didn't talk about unexpected. And I think that that definition was written 20 years ago, right, with Readline, but the information that we're doing now, that we know now, is that definition was somewhat misinterpreted.
And here, this is a validation of that. What we did was examine a group of typical readers and a group who were dyslexic. And that was really, really important. And this was published in Psychological Science in 2010. It's the validation, the scientific validation of unexpected. So you can see in typical readers here on the left in green is that you can see IQ, that's the top line, and reading, that's the dashed second line below. You can see that IQ and reading are linked. They go together all across the grades and all across grade levels. But if you look at dyslexic scores, and that's red on the right, you can see that the top line, the intelligence, is way up there. But look, the lower line, the dashed line, is way below. So you can see that IQ and reading diverge. And that's the unexpected. It's very, very important, because what it also says that dyslexic individuals are smart, that you don't judge them at their level of their reading, but of what their potential is, what their intellect is. And people have to be more and more aware of it, because some people are reluctant, and parents too, to have that diagnosis because they don't know what it implies.
I think what Sally said is true. People are afraid of what dyslexia is. They don't know what dyslexia is. And again, these are bright children, but if you ignore that deficit, they're not going to reach their full potential. And we know all these dyslexics. I think y'all mentioned Harry Belafonte and others that are so talented. But what we're concerned about are all the students that never know they're dyslexic, never get to know why they're struggling, and certainly never get the education they need so that they can personally be fulfilled and also give back to society.
As we examined our data, we found something really critical in dyslexic readers: strengths. And that led us, Bennett and myself, to develop a sea of strengths model of dyslexia. And let me try to explain what that is. So if you picture dyslexics having a difficulty in decoding, and that's in the middle of strengths that surround that difficulty, strengths that indicate higher intelligence, strengths like concept formation, reasoning, critical thinking, vocabulary, problem solving, empathy, general knowledge, and comprehension. And you can find these in my book, Overcoming Dyslexia, on page 56. So it's very important, because for the first time in talking about dyslexia, we're not only focused on the weakness in decoding, which is a small part of the picture, but on the sea of strengths surrounding that in higher level conceptual thinking. So that's very, very important. And that's what the definition, the unexpected, gives us. So it's unexpected because that individual is smart and has many, many strengths.
Dyslexia is not a cultural disease. It's not an economic disease. As the old definition said, it is neurobiological.
It's very important for people, young people who are struggling, to know that the reason they're struggling has a name: dyslexia. And it means that they're not stupid. And we're depriving so many children of their future and our country's future by not identifying the children. People have gone into prisons and examined prisoners and found that about half of them are dyslexic.
We need to figure out how to get this word out to the communities. How can we, let people know the truth about what dyslexia is? How do we go about letting people know that?